ever felt the world screaming around you, not in voices, but in the tearing of roofs, the snapping of trees, the shattering of glass? Hours pass in a blur of violence. The wind does not blow. It roars, a deep, endless sound that shakes your bones. Rain is no longer drops, but knives, slicing sideways, stinging every inch of skin. Streets vanish beneath torrents of water, carrying branches, signs, and pieces of homes. And then it changes. The roar cuts off in a single breath. Clouds split, sunlight spills across the wreckage, and a patch of sky, impossibly blue, stares down like an unblinking eye. The sea, moments ago wild and foaming, lies disturbingly still. The air turns warm, almost gentle. You hear for the first time in hours the creak of a shutter or the cry of a gull, sounds the storm had swallowed whole. It feels like peace. It feels like survival, but it is not. You are standing in the eye of a hurricane, the most deceptive calm on earth, a perfect, temporary oasis surrounded by a fortress of destruction. Today on the Curious Playbook, we're going to step inside this calm heart of chaos. We will uncover why the eye forms, how it works, the myths it has inspired, and what it reveals about the most powerful storms on Earth. Hurricanes, also known as tropical cyclones in the Indian Ocean and South Pacific, or typhoons in the Western Pacific, are vast, rotating storms powered by the heat of warm ocean water. They form overseas where surface temperatures are at least 26 degrees Celsius, pulling energy from the water and feeding it into massive spirals of cloud and wind. From space, they look like great white pinwheels, with curved arms of thunderstorms rotating around a dark center. That center is the eye. Typically, the eye spans 10 to 40 miles in diameter, though it can be far smaller or much larger. Inside, winds drop to light breezes or go still entirely. Skies may be clear or only lightly clouded, and the air often feels warmer. But beyond that calm is the eye wall, a nearly solid ring of towering thunderstorms where the hurricane's most extreme winds and heaviest rains occur. The difference between the calm eye and the violent eye wall is extreme. In the eye wall, winds can top 150 miles per hour, with the most intense hurricanes pushing toward 194. Rain falls in blinding sheets, visibility drops to near zero, and waves can rise to terrifying heights. Yet in the eye, you might see the sea surface smooth as glass, the sun shining overhead, and even stars visible at night. This paradox is the result of complex atmospheric dynamics. The process begins when warm, moist air over the ocean rises and cools, forming clouds and releasing heat. This heat release powers the storm, creating a feedback loop. More rising air means lower pressure at the surface, which draws in even more warm, moist air. The Coriolis effect, caused by Earth's rotation, bends these inflowing winds into a spiral. At the very center of this spiral, air pressure is exceptionally low, like the bottom of a deep valley. Air rushes toward it from all sides, accelerating as it gets closer. But as the air spins faster, centrifugal force pushes it outward. At the exact middle, these forces balance. The inward rush and the outward push cancel each other, leaving a zone of relative stillness. Another critical factor is subsidence, air sinking in the eye. While most of the eye wall's air surges upward, some flows inward at high altitudes and then descends into the eye. As it sinks, the air compresses, warming by as much as 20 degrees compared to the surrounding storm. Warm air can hold more moisture without forming clouds, which is why skies in the eye are often clear. Pilots who fly into hurricanes describe the transition as surreal. One moment, the plane is being slammed by turbulence, visibility reduced to nothing, and rain hammering every surface. The next, they burst into sunlight. The eye wall rises around them like a massive wall, curving outward with height, the stadium effect. Below, the ocean can look eerily calm, though it is still heaving with powerful swells. Not all eyes look the same. In weaker storms, the eye may be cloud-filled or obscured by a central dense overcast. In stronger storms, it can shrink into a pinhole just a few miles across. Hurricane Wilma in 2005 had the smallest recorded eye at only 2.3 miles wide. On the other extreme, Typhoon Winnie in 1997 and Typhoon Carmen in 1960 both reached 200 miles across. Such changes often result from eyewall replacement cycles. In these, a second ring of thunderstorms forms outside the original eyewall, cutting off its energy until the old wall collapses. The storm weakens temporarily, then re-strengthens with a new, often larger eye. More than half of Category 3 or stronger hurricanes experience at least one such cycle. Inside the eyewall, smaller swirls called mesovortices can form. These mini-rotations can produce even stronger winds than the surrounding eyewall and sometimes spawn tornadoes when they reach land. In storms with concentric eyewalls, clear moats can appear between them, deceptively calm areas that are quickly replaced by violence. For meteorologists, the eye is a critical clue. A clear, symmetrical eye usually means a well-organized, intense hurricane. Satellites and radar monitor these changes constantly, but some of the most valuable data comes from hurricane hunters and OAA and Air Force aircraft that fly directly into the storm. These missions are not for the faint-hearted. As the aircraft approaches the eyewall, turbulence batters it, winds shove it sideways, and rain lashes every surface. Then, in a matter of seconds, they enter the eye, where the sea below appears calm and the air is warm. Inside the eye, instruments called dropsondes are released. They fall through the storm, measuring temperature, pressure, humidity, and wind all the way to the sea. In recent years, drones like the Coyote have joined the effort. Dropped from aircraft, they can fly as low as 360 feet above the ocean inside the eyewall, where conditions are too dangerous for manned flights. They have measured winds near 200 miles per hour, providing continuous streams of data that have improved hurricane forecasts and saved lives. Historically, before satellite technology, the sudden arrival of the eye was sometimes a deadly trap. Sailors might think the storm was over and set sail or try to make repairs. Minutes or hours later, the opposite eyewall would arrive with winds just as strong, now from the opposite direction, catching them unprepared. The myths around the eye have been as varied as the cultures that experience hurricanes. In some Caribbean folklore, the calm was thought to be the storm taking a breath before striking again. In Pacific Island traditions, elders warned children never to trust the lull, telling stories of spirits that lured the unwary into danger. Beyond its cultural impact, the eye has scientific importance. Meteorologists about the storm's symmetry, intensity, and development stage. Rapid changes in the eye's size can indicate strengthening or weakening. Even its temperature difference from the surrounding storm can offer clues. In some cases, the eye's air is more than 20 degrees warmer than the eyewall. The phenomenon is not unique to Earth. Other planets with thick atmospheres, like Saturn, have been observed to have cyclonic storms with clear eyes, though on a much larger scale. Saturn's North Pole hosts a hexagon-shaped jet stream enclosing a vast storm system with a central eye-like region. Safety around hurricanes depends on preparation. The National Hurricane Center advises knowing your evacuation zone, having a family communication plan, and keeping an emergency kit ready. This kit should include food, water, medications, flashlights, batteries, and important documents in waterproof containers. Homes can be strengthened with hurricane shutters and roof straps. Loose objects outdoors should be brought inside. During a storm, if evacuation orders are given, leave immediately. If sheltering in place, choose an interior room on the lowest floor, away from windows. Never go outside during the eye. It is only halftime, and the second half can be worse. When the opposite eyewall arrives, winds will reverse direction, tearing at anything loosened in the first half. Floodwaters present their own hazards. 6 inches of moving water can knock over an adult, and 1 foot can sweep away a car. After the storm, hazards remain: downed power lines, unstable buildings, and contaminated water supplies. Always wait for official clearance before returning home. The hurricane's eye is more than a meteorological curiosity. It is the product of balance, inward rush, and outward push. Rising towers of cloud and sinking columns of dry, warm air. It is proof that in nature, opposites often coexist. The most intense violence can create the most delicate calm, and that calm can hide the return of destruction. For centuries, people have looked for meaning in this paradox. Writers have compared it to moments of peace in human conflict, the calm before personal storms, or the deceptive quiet in political or social upheaval. Scientists see it as a precise, measurable phenomenon. Yet the emotional impact of standing in the eye, whether on the deck of a ship in a coastal town or thousands of feet above in a plane, cannot be captured by data alone. The eye also represents the limits of human control. We can study it, predict it, and prepare for it, but we cannot stop it. In that way, it humbles us. It reminds us that the planet's forces are far greater than ours, and that survival depends on respect and readiness. Ultimately, the eye is both a warning and a marvel. A warning that the storm is not done, and a marvel that such order can emerge from chaos. It is one of the most striking symbols of the natural world's power and its beauty. If this exploration of the hurricane's eye has sparked questions in your mind about storms, weather, or any other hidden wonders of the natural world, let us know in the comments. The Curious Playbook exists to uncover the hidden stories and science behind everyday things, and your curiosity guides our journey.